Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, I'm still continuing my kaiju movie marathon. Eh, okay. Specifically it's Godzilla, but yeah, I'm still doing a video for the Godzilla films. And a bit of a sad news is that this will be my last Godzilla movie review because the film I'm reviewing is Godzilla Final Wars. Yes, I'm aware they did Godzilla films after this, like Shin Godzilla, Godzilla 2014, which did a sequel, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and yes, those King Kong Skull Island, which was supposed to take place with the previous two Godzilla films I just mentioned. But those films I brought up there, I've already reviewed them, and and yes, I know there is an anime trilogy with Godzilla in it, but I have not seen those as of yet. So up until then, this will be my final Godzilla video until further notice, I guess. So, Final Wars it is. This is the version of the Godzilla film, Godzilla Final Wars, I'll be talking about for the most of the movie review, of course, folks. And you can see this in Japanese, of course, with English subtitles, which is the way I've seen this. There's not really much to the behind the scenes, really, unfortunately. And it also kind of depends where you're buying this as well. So on the website like Amazon, eBay, and whatnot, it depends where you get it to, and like on the stores. So yeah, it can rather be tricky. But unfortunately, the one I got, there's not much to it. Really. There's some behind the scenes really, but that's about it. Unfortunately, so yeah. But still, this is the one I'm reviewing, folks. The picture quality is actually pretty good though. So that should count for something, I suppose. And also, just so you know, you can actually find this on Blu-ray as well, if anyone's interested, that is. The price would range, of course, obviously. And yeah, there's been more than one release for the same movie. I thought I would just point that out. And of course, even for this, the price will vary, or even this as well. It will contain the same movie. Again, the price would definitely vary, which is actually a pretty bad sign when you think about it. The price will vary depending on which edition, which version you're buying. The director, yeah, it's him. Yeah, let's just say that he did get into some heat, of course, when he was making this movie, Godzilla Final Wars. Yeah, got into some heat. And this has something to do with politics. Well, it goes on politics, not new there. Yeah, he had something to say about, former President Bush at the time. I know a lot of people didn't like it. Even Eminem himself didn't really like him at all. And yet there were plenty of people that Bush was pissing off. And yeah, and I was one of those people that didn't like him either, if I'm going to be honest here, folks. I don't like Bush, really. And yeah, a lot of people were really rather angry with this guy. And yeah, a lot of people did not like the fact that anybody would criticize Bush at all. Yeah, there were lots of movies about him, of course, kind of like anti-Bush kind of a thing. So having this kind of attitude in a kaiju film was like unheard of, really. But the director wanted to have sort of message about the misuse of political power. Of course, having monsters fight humans, humans fight mutants, mutants fight. You get the idea. Like, it's kind of like a Royal Rumble, so to speak, I guess. So to make a certain message about how certain individuals can misuse power, of course, and influences. So if anything, just be careful who you vote for. If anything, just be really, really careful. In mind, yeah, folks. Always be very, very careful on who you want to be your president. Well, anyway, yeah, that's the kind of thing you do have to talk about, discuss, and whatnot. Having Godzilla films focus on politics is actually nothing new. This kind of thing has been done before with other Godzilla films. But anyway, as always, let's get into the plot of this film, shall we? So here we go. In this film, it's like an all-out crazy monster mayhem. We see lots of monsters, of course, in which we see Godzilla traveling around the world to fight off a bunch of monsters, of course. And yes, there's actually a brand new mysterious monster. But anyway, that aside, years after an initial fight on Tokyo in 1954, pretty much Godzilla himself has been trapped under ice after a battle with a crew some years ago. And of course, Godzilla was having a grudge all these years. And there's a certain crew member that's been pretty much has to, done something. He has his own set of mind, of course. But anyway, in later years, there are all these environmental disasters caused by the appearance of giant monsters and superhumans dubbed mutants. So yeah, you heard me right. Superhumans in a certain way. And this character you see right there, folks, he will become an important part of the story. Yeah, I like this character. He's pretty badass, if you ask me. But like I was saying a moment ago, there are these superpowered human type characters, of course, in this movie. And these mutants, of course, do have their own special abilities. They do have their own set of skills. And yeah, they do fight. They do engage in battle in these heated situations, these combat areas. And all of a sudden, this movie becomes like an X-Men film. Yeah, think about that. It suddenly becomes like an X-Men movie. Oh boy. So yeah, kind of a weird combination when you think about it, but hey, whatever, I guess. So anyway, these individuals are then pretty much recruited to the Earth Defense Forces to battle the monsters and whatnot. So let's just say that this kind of a thing is going to be centering around this kind of craziness that's going on in this movie. Because for this movie, it's basically going all out. It's going to be action packed and whatnot. So the thing is that when these aliens, yep, you heard me, folks. Suddenly we're going to sci-fi heavy route. But anyway, when these aliens do invade Earth, they do release these giant monsters all around the world simultaneously all at the same time to attack and of course destroy the cities. So of course the Earth Defense Force, formed by mutants, is suddenly incapable of defeating the monsters. So yeah, it gets pretty damn crazy as the film continues. Well, this is supposed to be the last movie, so of course you might as well just go all out, obviously. But the thing is that all the while, Godzilla has been trapped for many years in this ice gel, so to speak, as I was mentioning earlier. So basically, he has to be the last hope to vanquish these monsters and the powerful new monster that's been arrived here, folks. So yeah, that's pretty much the overall idea of this movie. If it sounds crazy, that's because it is. It's a kind of a strange, crazy ass movie. But hey, I don't really mind it really at all. Make it uh, as crazy as you can, because like I said, this is supposed to be the grand finale of the Godzilla series. Well, you know it really isn't, but at the time they said it was gonna be the last one, so I guess you might as well just try to make it as big, as crazy as you can, and that's basically what this is. There's gonna be plenty of monster fights, but the thing is that, folks, Godzilla himself doesn't really show up until like what a good chunk of way through the film. So the film does really focus on upon the relationships between the mutants and the human characters. But even then, we get a lot of action. Even then, we have lots of action. We have plenty of shooting, explosions, and whatnot. We still get a lot of this anyway, so that should count for something, I guess. I didn't mind that really. It was enough here to be entertained. So yeah, I actually like this one. I actually like this one quite a bit. So I definitely can say that this movie does have its moments. It's a great ride, of course, and it really tries to be like a roller coaster ride, and it does deliver on that premise, pretty much. It's a good movie, and if you enjoy action films, if you're the type of person to enjoy action films, that's basically what it is. At the end of the day, it's an action sci-fi movie, pretty much. So you might as well just go all out on a bang. So that's what they did, trying to end the entire franchise on a bang. So you might as well just have so many destruction scenes, and that's what this film has. A lot of destruction scenes in this film, which were actually pretty well done for the most part. So I like the destruction scenes that were done for this movie. So I really appreciate what this film is trying to do. I like the destruction scenes. So when Godzilla actually finally does come over, obviously he does have some cool fight sequences as well. So that's definitely a good thing. I like the human characters. I do like the mutant characters as well. The monsters, all the monsters show up are pretty well designed. Yes, like I was saying, it's pretty hard to discuss the plot because I don't want to spoil anything really. And there's quite a bit of things I do want to talk about without spoiling it, and that can be pretty difficult. We see a lot of familiar monsters, of course, but I know I complained about reusing monsters before, but at least we do get a new monster at the end of the movie. I'm not gonna say what that is because I'm not gonna spoil it for those who have not seen it. Even though, despite the fact that this film has been out for quite some time. Oh yeah, little son of Godzilla has made a return. He has his own thing going on, like a little subplot or whatever. So again, not trying to give away too much of the premise of the movie because things just go insane. They go berserk in this movie. For this film, they just basically threw everything in the including the Kinshasik. Even Gagan makes a return. So I like that. That was pretty cool. In his own way, I guess. He's pretty much an upgraded Gagan. And I really don't have no real complaints really for the movie at all. And yeah, that's definitely a plus. Also reminded me of the Matrix movies. Yeah, kind of an odd mix, but okay. I also took some inspiration from this kaiju film. Not only that, since this actor is in this movie, and a good chunk of it too, and yeah, trying to go for like the action hero kind of a thing, yes. Like in this movie, because when you think about it, he's in that one too. So yeah, that's something to think about. Also, it did remind me a little bit of this one as well, folks. This monster movie. And what I'm saying is that the film does take some inspiration from a few things here and there. So yeah, that's a thing in this movie. I guess it's like a collage of ideas that was put together. The the director of this film did admit that he did enjoy the 1970s Godzilla films, and while in some ways I kind of have I know I mentioned this before, but the original Godzilla series I kind of have like some mixed feelings about it. It's like a mixed bag for me, but okay, whatever, yes. And yeah, as usual, we do have some female characters in this film, and yes, in some way we do have some female characters play a important role, and also, yeah, there's some humor as well in this film. They're trying to have some humor here and there, which does help to ease the tension overall. But like we were saying a moment ago, is that Yes, again, those female characters in this movie that can play the role in one way or another. Because well, that became pretty typical for these movies to have a female lead in one way or another. Even if she's like a secondary character, she'll play an important role to help the main characters or whatever. But yeah, we do get to see various monsters throughout the entire movie. Though I do wish they could have created even more new monsters. But still, for what it's worth, if this film does its job, it does what it's supposed to. So I can't have any complaints really as a whole because this movie is serviceable. It does what it's supposed to. Have a crazy ass action movie. And that's what basically this was, a crazy ass action movie. And ultimately, I can't really complain at all. On top of all that, this film does come off. It does have some inspiration from one of the previous Godzilla films, and yeah, and there's a thing as well. It also does remind me of some of those old creature features, sci-fi-ish kind of thing, I guess, that they made in the past. So, the ray gun shooting or stuff like that, I guess. So, I guess while we're at it, let's just throw it into the mix of like a lot of those old kung fu movies I would often review, folks. Yeah, let's just mix it up, folks. And I guess that this is the director's way of trying to make things seem exciting and cool and all that shit. I guess that's what he's trying to aim for this one Godzilla movie here. And yeah, there there's that. I guess is what he's trying to do over here. So basically, what I'm trying to get at, we're gonna bring up all these other types of movies. Is that it just feels like a compilation of other ideas from various movies. So, especially from the old Godzilla films from the past, which in some ways does irritate me because, as I mentioned earlier, is that when it comes to the original Godzilla series of films, uh, yeah, I have a mixed feelings. It's like a mixed bag for me in some ways. I mean, yes, it's nice to see some of the old monsters back. Sure, I'm not going to deny that. But still, just wish you could do more with it, though. Just wish you could do more with various creatures and whatnot. The overall plot is pretty damn crazy. And yes, it's pretty damn insane. So, yeah, it does go along with the craziness of these types of movies anyway. But if it sounds weird, that's because in a lot of ways it is. I do have to criticize the film is that it reminds me of the all Godzilla films way too much. So yeah, remember that one song that was made, from the first film? You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I want to apply that here. So yeah, I know they're trying to please the fans, which in itself doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, but that can also hinder the film as well. So there's that. Yeah, this kind of a thing does remind me of the superhero genre in a sense because yeah, there's been like how many so far Batman films? A lot, of course, and not a single Batwoman film as of yet. And then as for Batgirl, it's been in and out. Yes, gonna do it, but then no, then yes, then no, then yes, then no, then yes. Yeah, it keeps going back and forth. Then as for even Superman had quite a few films as well, but Supergirl only has that one shitty movie, and that's it so far. And for the time being, Wonder Woman just has those two movies so far. That's about it. What the actual hell? Come on. Well, we do get to see the 1998 Godzilla get his ass handed to him by the rear Godzilla. So that's sort of a good thing there, I suppose. But yeah, anyway, folks, the production in this film may not be the highest, like compared to other movies I just mentioned, of course. The production value might be still considered as extremely cheap compared to this movies I just mentioned, but still, yeah, you can tell in a lot of ways. And if speaking of complaints, Some of the editing needs some work. If you ask me, some of the editing does need some work. I mean, the overall editing throughout the entire film seems to be good enough, but there's some bits throughout the entire film that does need some work. And as for the acting itself in this movie is, in fact, passable. So, in regards of acting, I'm not complaining too much, really. So, it's serviceable. It's very serviceable in acting in that department, that's for sure. As for the special effects, like I was mentioning for the production value, the special effects, yes, it's serviceable. They do what it's supposed to do. The special effects are pretty good, and it definitely has a bigger budget compared to some of the other films. So there's that, and I can say that's a good thing there at least. At least the production values had gotten a bit more sharper compared to the older films. So that's something I suppose. This does give me an excuse to talk about something Japanese related, of course, and that's the thing. In some ways, I kind of hate to see these videos go. This, like I was saying way earlier, this will be my final Godzilla video up until I don't know whenever. I don't know when the next time I'm gonna review another Godzilla film. I guess whenever I can, and yeah, maybe I guess when I feel like it. I guess because like I mentioned, I already reviewed the other Godzilla films already, so it might be a good while. Since it might be a good while since I would review another Godzilla film. And yes, I know they did make the Godzilla anime trilogy. I am aware of that, like I was saying earlier. But I'm not sure when I'm gonna get my hands on that, on those animated Godzilla films. So I'll review them whenever I get the chance. I guess whenever. Even doing that might take a good while as well. So it really depends, I suppose, on all that. Just don't let anybody know. Just don't let anybody know about that kind of a thing. So we'll see how things go, I suppose. So yeah, and the thing is that this film is definitely fast paced. So I was never really all the way bored, really. So it's very fast paced. So it did hold my attention for quite some time, of course. And I did appreciate the fact that the director clearly knows what he's doing. He clearly knows what he's trying to do with the Godzilla films, and of course definitely trying to add some new twists and trying to be imaginative about it. So that's a good thing. At least he knows what he's doing, folks. Knows that. At least he does know what he's doing, obviously. And overall, folks, I would say give this film a watch. You don't necessarily need to watch the other Godzilla films in order to know what's going on in this film. You can just watch. You can just watch this one on its own, and you're totally fine. You don't have to watch the other movies to understand what's going on with this movie. Just this one is good enough. You just watch this one, and you'll be good to go. And as a whole, folks, I can say that this film does more right than wrong. I guess, even though I did have some complaints, I guess, throughout the entire movie, really. But still, it's enjoyable. It does what it's supposed to. And all I can really say is that, yeah, I definitely wouldn't mind seeing another Godzilla film being directed by this one director, but I don't see that's going to happen really. Yes, as I was saying earlier, it does get pretty political to a degree. The director does not outright say it. He doesn't say it directly, but he did try to get some hints throughout the entire film. So that's a good thing, I guess. He's not so in your face, I suppose. I don't mind if the Godzilla films get political because these films were always political to begin with. So, which a lot of people are not aware of. A lot of people just mostly pay attention to the shitty American edited versions of these films. Where a lot of politics would be removed, and that's usually because to not offend anybody, really. They don't want to offend the Republicans. They don't want to offend the Democrats. They don't want to offend the conservatives. They don't want to offend, like literally nobody. Even though Republicans and conservatives do take offense to a lot of stuff, even those. Hell, come on, give me a break. The original 1954 Godzilla film was heavily censored because it was anti-war. So a lot of people took offense to the fact that it was anti-war. A lot of people thought the fact that there was going to be an anti-war thing going on in the movie assumed that was going to be propaganda against the American citizens, which is, of course, isn't the case. The original Godzilla film was not blaming entirely on America. It was just trying to say that war in general can be pretty damn crazy. And every country in the world had a battle. Every country in the world had some fighting going on in one shape or form. When America had occupied Japan for a good while during a certain period of time in American history, a lot of the American government officials had actually censored the Japanese stuff because they thought they might be having a propaganda going on, even though what they're doing can be propaganda in itself. I mean, don't get me wrong, folks. I'm not trying to shit on America or anything. I do like this country, don't get me wrong, but that doesn't mean I can't criticize it. So, it just seems weird that a lot of people would take this kind of stuff extremely personal. And that's, of course, not the end goal of these types of movies. And the director of the original Godzilla film was actually trying to say that war in general is pretty damn crazy. And my point being is that, like I already said, I'm perfectly fine with these movies becoming political, and that was the whole idea anyway. You use politics, so that's definitely a good thing there. I know to some degree I'm going off topic because I'm supposed to be talking about this movie, but I'm trying to bring up some points. That's all. The monster fight scenes are really well done. The destruction scenes are also really nicely done as well. I like the monster designs in this film. All of this is really well choreographed. And like I was saying earlier, this is basically an action movie. That's what it is. It's definitely an action movie. And that's probably the best way to look at this. It's it's definitely an action movie. And yeah, an action-packed giant monster slugfest. Action-packed film. It's like a slugfest where these characters are beating the hell out of each other, which is pretty cool, of course. And yeah, and for that, I'll give it a recommendation, folks, because it's pretty damn wild. It's pretty damn crazy. And I like that. Yes, sirree. So I'll give it an overall rating of a 7.5 out of 10. It gives a 7.5 out of 10 for me. And as always, thanks for watching, and take care. Until next time, see ya. Oh yeah.